Damn it, I forgot the camera was dead again. Hello everyone! I am Light. Light. I may be God. Or an angel. Something like that. Yeah, the camera is still broken. But we're playing Winterlight, where silence says it all. Visual novel. I got a code for it. Let's check it out. Right. Well, this one is for Monships to read. The sky was covered with grey clouds when Elias got off the bus. The salty air hit him full on like a slap made of memories. He stepped off the last step of the vehicle with measured slowness, as if putting his foot on the ground sealed something important. Thank you, Monships. I can translate it too. I said you could read it. The rusty sign saying "Welcome to Bahia Mansa" greeted him in silence, tilted by the wind that pushed it slightly to the side. Bahia Mansa, he thought. Even the name seemed older now, as if it hadn't been spoken aloud in decades. The salty breeze from the sea ruffled his hair with a familiar gesture. The distant sound of waves crashing against rocks reached his ears like a faint, almost shy promise. He held his back up in his backpack in one hand and the frayed scarf in the other. That scarf had been a gift. A simple one, forgotten, but now it returned like an emotional tie that clung tighter than it protected from the cold. What is it? Nothing changed, or maybe I did. The thought had no tone, no judgment. It was a simple observation. He walked slowly along Los Pinos Street, lined with tall pines that hadn't lost an ounce of solemnity. The rust fences of the houses seemed to lean slightly, as if they recognized him and chose to stay silent. The houses looked smaller than in his memories. Oh, the game is really loud, isn't it? I'm sorry. Some had been repainted, others remained the same, frozen in time. On the corner, an old bicycle was propped against a peeling wall. Is that better now? Still loud? The torn seat exposed yellow foam like an open wound. No one complained. I made it a little lower. A dog slept on a doormat, indifferent to the passing of time. It twitched an ear in sync with its dreams. That house. Marcos used to live there. Did he leave too? A breath of sea air filled his lungs. He coughed lightly. The silence was thick, heavy with things unsaid. A figure was crossing the sidewalk ahead, wearing a blue hood and carrying a box in their arms. The figure's steps were steady but unhurried. He didn't seem to notice Elias's presence. Elias stopped. The wind slipped in through his jacket collar. There was something in the way they walked, in the profile of their face, that felt vaguely familiar. It wasn't just a shape, it was the energy, an old air. But the figure kept walking without turning. Do I know her? The thought made his temples throb with sudden force, sharp pain without a clear cause. Elias adjusted his backpack on his shoulder and crossed the street in silence. The figure disappeared into the coastal mist, taking with them the chance of a memory. It was like watching a leaf carried by water. He could have caught it. He didn't. And in that instant, silence reclaimed the place. When he reached number 215, he stopped in front of a rusted gate. The rust stains looked like maps of places that no longer existed. His childhood home looked at him with closed eyes, as if asleep, waiting for someone to wake it. Dusty windows, worn paint, but still standing, and that was something. Grandma Clara had lived there alone for years. I'm back. He approached the iron gate and knocked with his knuckles. The sound got lost for a moment inside the house, as if unsure whether to make its way through. It took a few seconds, but a firm voice came from inside. I'm coming. Don't rush an old lady with a cane. The door opened with a long creak, like a rusty laugh. Clara stood there, with her knitted sweater and wooden cane, like a breathing sculpture from the past. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, and the pair of glasses hung from her neck on a woolen cord. So you came back, Elias? Hi, Grandma. Clara looked at him for a few seconds before smiling. A smile that promised nothing but demanded nothing either. You haven't changed as much as you think. She hugged him tightly, with a warmth only grandmothers have. The kind of hug that reminds the body what a home means. I missed you. No need to lie, but thanks anyway. He laughed, breaking the ice gently. They entered the house, which smelled of hot soup and old wood. The hallway was the same, with old photos hanging on the wall. The framed gazes seemed to follow him as he passed. Is this AI art? Because those two people on that frame in the middle, their arm fuses together. One showed Elias with his mother at the beach. Elias is a child, feet in the water, hands full of sand. That photo, I didn't remember you had it hanging there. Is there a way to toggle UI? I guess her fingers are okay. I don't have much prettier to show, you know. He sat in the kitchen where two mugs waited on the table. The tablecloth had a few stains impossible to hide, but that didn't take away from the gesture. Clara poured tea from a blue teapot with faded flowers. The steam rose between them like an invisible bridge. I guess you know why you're here. Yeah. Clara stood with effort and opened a drawer in the sideboard. She took out a light wooden box and placed it on the table gently, as if still afraid of breaking it. Your mother asked me to give this to you if you came back. On the box was a sealed letter with his name handwritten on it. The yellowed paper had a rough texture, as if it had absorbed too many nights. Elias didn't touch it. He just looked at it, the way one looks at a closed wound, knowing it still hurts. When did she give it to you? A few days before, well, before everything. I don't know if I want to open it. You don't have to do it now, not even this week if you don't want to. Elias turned his gaze to the window where steady drizzle fell. The drops gathered on the edges of the glass like persistent thoughts. What would she write? An apology? A hidden truth? Want some soup? Please. Clara served the soup in deep plates with uneven edges. The steam smelled of vegetables, garlic, and something he couldn't identify but smelled like childhood. It's been a long time since I had something this homemade. Something has to keep you standing. You won't live on memories. They ate in silence for several minutes. The only sound was the soft clinking of the spoon against the plate. The old radio whispered a soft instrumental tune as if it knew the moment's exact tone. After dinner, Clara pointed at the stairs with her chin. "Your room's the same. I just dusted it a little." "That's fine, thanks." He climbed the wooden steps, which creaked as if they recognized him. Each step was an unspoken word, a note of a forgotten song. He opened the door and found his old room. The blue curtains, the empty shelf, the old poster still stuck on the wall. A deflated ball lay in a corner. He didn't remember leaving it there. He sat on the bed without taking off his shoes. The letter was still in his backpack, untouched. What if I don't want to know what it says? He lay back and closed his eyes. The sound of the sea came muffled through the glass, like a distant rumor. He thought of his mother, the last time they spoke, what they left unsaid, what they didn't forgive. Why now, after everything? Outside, the wind moved the branches with a constant whisper, as if the world were saying his name without daring to raise it. Clara climbed to his room slowly. "If you need anything, I'm in my room." "Thanks, Grandma." "We visit Café Horizonte tomorrow. It opened recently." "A new cafe in town? Incredible." "They say the barista is a charmer. Don't get distracted." "I'll do my best." Clara smiled and closed the door gently. The click of the handle was a final sigh. Elias was left alone, accompanied by his thoughts. Maybe this is just what I needed. The rain grew heavier as night fell over Bahia Mansa. The room filled with soft shadows cast by the street lamp. Elias took a deep breath as if trying to absorb the calm of the place. "I'm back. And everything's going to change, right?" He closed his eyes, embraced by the invisible weight of the past. Thus ended his first day in Bahia Mansa. The sun filtered timidly through the blue curtains of the room, and behind them a pale sky promised a cool and serene day. Elias stretched slowly with the sensation of having floated for hours through layers of blurry dreams. The scent of old wood soaked into the walls and clothes felt both familiar and distant. He sat on the bed, and the creak of the mattress was like a sigh from the past. He stayed still for a few seconds, eyes fixed on the backpack. The letter was still inside, sealed like an oath, like a sweet threat he still didn't dare to face. Not today, not yet. He ran a hand over his face as if trying to erase the questions the letter hinted at without words. Text volume. How about no? He got up and stretched his arms. The wooden floor was cold under his feet. He went down the stairs slowly, each step accompanied by the scent of toast and freshly brewed coffee. "Good morning, sleepyhead." "Sleepyhead? It's 8 o'clock. Bahia Mansa wakes early, dear, and toast doesn't wait." Clara served café au lait in 2 stripped mugs, one of them with a small chip on the rim Elias remembered breaking as a child. The tablecloth was vinyl with fruit patterns, faded by years, and the sun that came in every morning through the window. An instrument, I think so, Cyan. An instrumental version of an old tango played softly on the radio. Did you dream anything? Because I was looking at, like, the frame in the middle, and the arm of the child and the adult fused together. Fuses together. Also, like, the character we're looking at has that AI art style. But I guess the AI art style has to come from somewhere, because AI is only imitating someone. So, yeah, I don't know. I think so? I don't know. I don't remember, but it was peaceful. That's saying a lot already. They sat down to eat breakfast. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was full of shared knowledge, of words that weren't needed. Elias watched the golden light bathe the table, spilling over the mug like a promise. Mara spread butter on toast with slow, precise, almost ritual movements. You could go for a walk, see if the town recognizes you. Is the fair still on Saturdays? Thursdays now. The new mayor's doing. Incredible. I don't know if he governs or improvises, but there he goes with his poncho and his broom. Elias chuckled softly, grateful for that dose of morning sarcasm. He finished his coffee and put on his coat slowly, as if stepping not just into the street, but into another chapter. The air was fresh, smelling of salt, fresh bread, and damp earth. The clouds drifted lazily, casting soft shadows along the waterfront. Also, like, I become more critical when I suspect something is AI art. But why is there a bench at the edge of the sidewalk? And then there are no benches for the rest of the way. It's weird. I don't know. I can't wait for us to have a way to distinguish games that have AI art and the ones that don't. Because I would like to exercise my right of refusal before accepting the games with AI art. But it is what it is. The clouds drifted lazily, casting a soft shadow along the waterfront. He walked down the seaside path, giving small nods to vaguely familiar faces. The man in a beret looked at him with doubt, as if his face was an echo. I think that was the grocer. Ruben? The bakery, the Delicias del Sur, was still in its place, with its red and white striped awning fluttering in the wind. The aroma from inside was intoxicating. Flour, yeast, quince, jam. I hate reading out loud things that have two languages together. A little further ahead, a new sign caught his attention. Café Horizonte. White letters on navy blue, freshly painted, gleamed in the sun like a promise of novelty. What about this one? Everything seems okay here, I guess. Like I said, it might be me being critical, who knows. The storefront had pots of fresh lavender and a small white wood bench beside the entrance. Just then a familiar figure crossed the street in front of him. It was a woman in a knitted scarf, walking with purpose, carrying a bag of books on her arm. Elise recognized her, or thought he did. Marta. At least she looked like Marta. The way she tied her hair, the rhythm of her stride, everything spoke of a memory that still hurt, but sweetly. He hesitated for a few seconds. The cafe was there, waiting for him, with its scent of cinnamon and refuge. The game doesn't say it uses AI for installing it? No. You don't have to say it at this point in the game industry. You don't have to say it, so if you detect it, you can always say no. If you don't detect it, well, there's nothing you can do. I think they're getting there. This deal, Sony delisted more than 1,000 games. I think this is a great step in the right direction. No, it needs to be, I think it needs to be the ESRB that mandates that. Just like a game will tell you if it has like sexual content, drugs, alcohol, language, there needs to be a tag for like microtransactions and a tag for AI. I have another game that I think has an AI cover, and then I think I'm free. Well, I didn't think this one had AI either, so who knows. And I'm going to start being way more attentive when saying yes. Wait, I don't know if I read that last one. Text log. Oh, okay, I did read it. But so was she, and the chance that it was her was a thorn in his heart. Go to that. He pushed open the cafe door, which chimed with a soft metallic sound like a welcome bell. The place smelled of espresso, wood, and something sweet he couldn't quite place. Well, one thing AI can't do is write shit. But one thing I do notice is that none of the chairs have the same amount of vertical wood stripes. One has 0, one has 2, one has 3, the other one I can't even tell. Seems like 4. The place, yeah, right. Square tables of light oak, cushioned chairs, filament lamps, and a shelf full of mismatched mugs completed the scene. See, and like, I'm playing the game and now I'm focusing on this instead of focusing on the story, which actually seems interesting. You really can't do this to your game. It's such a disservice. Good morning. Sit wherever you like. The young man behind the counter looked up and smiled with his eyes. He had dark hair tied back in a messy ponytail and wore a black apron, stained with flour and chalk. It's not stained at all. His movements were quick but gentle, as if he knew time in the cafe followed a different logic. See, this person doesn't give me that AI vibe, like the grandmother did. I don't know. Thanks. He sat near the window where the sun entered gently like a welcomed guest. He watched the dust motes float in the light like drifting thoughts. First time here? Yeah, I just moved back to town after several years. And a double welcome. You like your coffee strong or gentle? Something that wakes me up but doesn't insult me. Think it's fine using AI in the process but not in the final product? Yeah, if you're not putting AI out, do whatever you want. I think generally using generative AI is a mistake. It'll condition you. You'll still have to like place it and then replace it. Why not just leave it like a blank texture? If you're having to go place something that you'll have to replace later. And there's the whole environmental bullshit that's a big problem at this point. Perfect. One right in the middle then. Ivan smiled knowingly and disappeared behind the machine, which began to hiss and sputter. Elise rested his elbows on the table, looking out the window. The street looked like a frozen postcard. An elderly couple walked by holding hands. A dog yawned in the sun. This is too peaceful, but I needed it. The thought settled on him like a light blanket. Here you go, a gentle awakening, as I like to call it. Thanks. So what brings you to Bahia Monster? Vacation? Reunions? Came back to live with my grandma. I'm sorting things out. Sometimes going back is the only way to move forward. Elise looked at him a second longer than needed. He nodded in silence and tasted the coffee. He was right on the edge between comforting and sharp. It's really good. I get that a lot, but I'm still glad to hear it. For a few minutes, they stayed in silence, sharing the cafe's calm. A couple of customers came in, greeted with gestures, and sat without ordering. The town's routines were in motion. Ivan served them with a natural smile. He seemed to know not just their orders, but their stories, too. Elise watched, curious, the way Ivan moved, as if he'd always belonged there. This guy fit into town better than I ever did as a kid. He finished his coffee slowly, savoring every sip as if it were a step toward something uncertain. I actually like the writing in the game. I wonder if ChatGPT wrote it. How much is it? On the house, for your first day. You don't have to. Not up for debate. Tomorrow, if you come back, I'll charge you double. Deal. He left Café Horizonte with a faint smile that didn't show, but could be felt. The wind tousled his hair as he walked toward the plaza. The benches were empty except for a pair of sparrows. These benches make way more sense than the last benches. Oh, the background ones! Holy shit! Also, isn't there a lamp in the background that does not have the lamp? It's just the post? Yeah. Why would you do that to your game? Seriously. Even like I I always strive to give things a chance, and I never want to be unfair, and even if sometimes I am, I don't want to be. But the fact that I see this AI art, that's the only reason I would have even consider, like, oh, I wonder if ChatGPT wrote anything in the game, right? What exactly am I enjoying here? Yeah, that lamp post with no lamp is great. Love it. Only one boy played with the ball near a kiosk, laughing with the freedom Elias had forgotten. He sat under an oak tree and closed his eyes, letting the breeze brush his face. Still don't know why I came back, beyond the obvious. Something tells me this won't be as simple as signing a few papers. He remained quiet for a while, letting time do its thing. When he returned home, Clara was in the garden, carefully trimming dry leaves. The sun filtered through the branches of a fruitless peach tree. Did you go to the cafe? Yeah, they gave me a really good one. That new boy's got magic hands, and a pretty face, if you ask me. Grandma? What, can't an old lady look? We went inside the house together as the afternoon fell. The golden light passed through the windows lazily, spreading over the floor like a farewell blanket. Elias went up to his room, taking off his shoes and coat with slow movements. He opened his laptop, out of habit, but didn't type anything. He just stared at the blank screen for a minute, as if waiting for the words to appear on their own. I don't feel like working, or thinking. He closed the laptop and pulled out the wooden box. The letter was still there, untouched, heavy like an emotional stone. What if I'm not ready? He put it back and lay down on the bed. A gust of wind made the window creak. The curtains swayed like gentle ghosts. Notice how everything has a yellow tint to it? Yeah. The AI piss filter. AI learned from Gears of War. From the kitchen came the scent of toast and something baking. The day had been calm but full of things he hadn't quite processed. Mainly Gears of War 3. Tomorrow maybe I'll see someone else. Tomorrow maybe I'll open it. Outside, night settled silently over Bahia Mansa. End of date. Wait, the arms are different now. Now it's a very long arm. I miss when that was just a terrible choice made by the devs. He became a Guado from Final Fantasy X. Also, the chairs are definitely different. Which I guess is, I mean, if it's an old house, not every chair is the same. But you wouldn't draw them differently. The sky was covered with pale clouds, as if the day hesitated to begin. And see, like, it immediately dominates the conversation. Like, it stops being about the game that you made. You should never do this. The clouds formed a motionless, light gray sheet that filtered the light like frosted glass. It was the kind of morning where everything feels like it's in slow motion. Elias woke up with a slight pressure in his chest, a vague tightness that didn't quite hurt, but couldn't be ignored. The room smelled of wood and old dust. He didn't know if it was the weather or the memories. I should do something today. Move. Stop overthinking. He went down to the kitchen where Grandma was reading the newspaper. next to a cup of mate cocido. I don't know what that is. It's I don't know what mate is. The air was warm, smelling of freshly baked bread and damp yerba mate. You slept like a rock. Did you dream? I don't remember. Good. Sometimes dreams stir up more than they help. Clara flipped through the newspaper hurriedly, turning each page as if reading between the lines. Her rebellious lock of hair stuck out. She hadn't bothered to fix it. They ate breakfast in silence, with the clock making the slow rhythm of the house, marking. The ticking sounded louder in the spaces without words. Julius put on his coat. The fabric still smelled of storage, as if it didn't quite belong to him yet. He went out walking without a destination. The streets were quiet, smelling of damp earth. The tree branches dripped silently, pearls of rain from the night before sliding off them. Those trees and that other sidewalk, I would go complain to the city hall immediately. He passed the old municipal library, now closed for renovations. The facade was covered by rusty scaffolding and the tarp fluttering like a flag without a country. Around the corner, something stopped him in his tracks. A familiar voice, a tone impossible to forget. Even more than a perfume or a song. Well, Luca decided to show up in Bahia Mansa. Mara stood in front of a bookstore with a blue facade. Its sign slightly chipped. Her hair was curly and short, and she wore a hand-knitted scarf that hung like a lazy snake. She held a notebook and a disposable coffee cup with marker doodles. Aye, Marta. Thought you decided to disappear for good. I almost did. You were closed then. The tone was sarcastic, but there was no venom in her eyes. Just a kind of weariness, like someone repeating a line rehearsed too many times. I came for my mom. I know, the whole town does. I figured. We also know you didn't write her a single letter these past years. I didn't come to justify myself. Good thing. A silence settled between them, uncomfortable but necessary. They both knew words were only the surface. You're still here? As you can see, some never left, others couldn't. Thought you'd gone off to study. I did. Then I came back. Life stuff, not Instagram material. Elias didn't know what to say. The Mara in front of him wasn't quite the same. She had a new scar near her eyebrow and a firmer posture, like she no longer waited for apologies from the world. But her eyes were identical to those late adolescent afternoons. They shone with that blend of defiance, sorrow, and the urge to show neither. Wanna come in? This is my bookstore workshop. It's called Tinta Libre. Sure. Sure, I'm curious. Mara gave a faint smile, surprised, and pushed the door open with her shoulder. The little bell rang, a bell with more history than shine. Not bad. I like the random bookshelf on the wall. Shh! It's a painting of a bookshelf. Of course. The place smelled of new paper, coffee, and a hint of lavender. The walls were lined with wooden shelves, some filled with books, others with handmade notebooks, hand-painted bookmarks, and jars of brushes. A hanging lamp cast shadows over an old cabinet, full of sewing kits and ribbons. I do bookbinding now. Workshops on Tuesdays and Fridays. I also sell coffee, but don't tell City Hall. You always were good with your hands. Is that a compliment or a suggestion? Whatever you want it to be. That also sounds like you. He sat on a low table by the window. Drops began to form on the glass. A soft playlist drifted from an old speaker. Didn't think you'd come back. In fact, I swore you wouldn't. Me too. Does the house still smell like soup? Clara hasn't changed a thing. Glad at least she's doing okay. Elias noticed Mara avoided mentioning his mother. He wasn't brave enough to say her name either. You remember our walks to the Silent Lighthouse? Of course. You always got scared when it got dark. It wasn't fear, it was respect for ghosts. Well, they're all still here, you know. I can tell. Mara crossed her arms and looked at him with a mix of challenge and tenderness. He had a way of looking at him that stripped away his defense layer by layer. Don't expect everything to go back to how it was. I don't. Good. I stayed silent, watching two kids ride bikes down the street. One of them shouted something unintelligible, laughing. It was a sound so honest it hurts. Elias felt like there were 1,000 things he wanted to say, but none came out right. Everything seemed to arrive too late. I'm sorry. Don't say that if you don't know why you're saying it. Then, thank you. For what? For not kicking me out of here. Thought about it. Hey, you invited me in. They both laughed, though a shadow lingered in their smiles. Outside the sky was still grey, but no longer as oppressive. I've got class in 15 minutes. 9-year-olds. I'm teaching them to sew their own journals. Sounds nice. It is, sometimes. Other times they want to use glue as a perfume. I like smelling the glue. Got it. I'll remember that next time I think my job is hard. Buy another day if you want. I don't promise good vibes, but there's ginger tea. You sold me. Bye, Elias. Bye, Marna. He left Tinta Libre with a knot in his chest and cold hands. The chime of the door still echoed in his head like a trace of what might have been. Elias walked aimlessly for several minutes without checking the time. Ah, this one does not have a yellow tint. It has a green tint. Rain began to threaten with a soft drizzle. Each step took him further from her, and also closer again. Everything in Bahia Mansa seemed to move in circles. It wasn't a coincidence. She was waiting for me, somehow. As he walked along the wet sidewalk, a cold gust brought back a memory. The last time he spoke to his mother. The argument. The words he never wanted to remember, but that still lived on, crouched. So you're leaving without saying anything more than it's for the best. Is that all I deserve? You can't pretend everything's fine, Mom. It's not. Of course it's not. You don't fix anything by running away. I'm not running. I'm choosing my life. Your life? What am I then? An obstacle? No, just... I couldn't breathe here anymore. You think I could? I raised you alone, with everything against me. This isn't a competition, Mom. It never was. But you left anyway, and you didn't look back. Elise remembered that he hadn't answered. He just grabbed his backpack and walked out the door. Sometimes silence cuts too. When he got home, Clara was waiting on the porch, knitting, with the expression of someone who already knows the answer. I saw you from the window. Did you run into someone? Yeah. Marta? Yeah. How did it go? She invited me into her bookstore. Didn't spit on me, so I guess good. That's excellent. For both of you, really. We went inside together as night began to fall. The sky turned ash gray. It had? That's not what I say. The house smelled of stew. Elise went up to his room with his mind elsewhere, body present, but heart lingering in a shop window of books and coffee mugs. He sat by the window and looked toward the plaza. The lamppost flickered from the humidity. The letter was still sealed. Today it didn't matter. The past had other ways of reaching him. Tomorrow I have to see her again. Not just for the past, for what might still happen. He lay down without turning on the lamp. The mattress creaked as if judging him too. The murmur of the wind seemed to echo in his mind. Came back just in time. The rain had been hitting the roof with a steady rhythm since before dawn. Elias opened his eyes slowly, feeling the weight of humidity in his bones. He was in no hurry to get up. Today the town sleeps. Maybe I could too. He remained lying down, listening to the murmur of water against the windows. For the first time in a long while, he didn't think about deadlines or deliverables. He thought about a laugh. Mara's laugh. When they throw themselves onto the grass after a storm. He closed his eyes and remembered. We were 15, running through the rain along the promenade. Ah, they still hadn't installed the stupid bench in this year. Mara wore a borrowed t-shirt, an ice full of fire. Come on, coward, it's not acid. You soaked my whole jacket. Because you pushed me into the mud. They laughed like the world didn't exist beyond that moment. They threw themselves onto the soaked grass, panting. I'm gonna get killed if I get sick. You won't get sick, you're too stubborn for that. I'm going to miss you when you leave. What if I don't leave? Would you stay? I don't know, depends if someone gives me a reason. They looked at each other in silence. They didn't kiss, they thought about it. He came back to the present like being yanked from a warm dream. Elias sat on the bed, eyes fixed on the backpack. He pulled out the wooden box with trembling hands. The letter was still intact, the white seal unbroken. I could open it now. He held it between his fingers. The paper was thicker than he remembered. What if everything I used to hate breaks when I read this? He stood up and put it away again. Went down to the kitchen where Clara was watering plants in cranked pots. It's raining hard today. Yeah. Did you dream of your mother? No, but I dreamed of someone else. Marta? Yeah. You're both fools. Fools? You had each other and didn't know it, or didn't dare say it. Sometimes I think we did know. And you were late. That's not always too late. Elias took a cup of coffee and leaned on the table. Do you think she hates me? No, but she protected herself from doing so. The clock read 11. The rain didn't let up. I'm not going out today. I figured. I left a blanket on the couch. He spent the morning reading an old hardcover book. He didn't care about the story. He just needed to escape his own. Every now and then he checked his phone. No messages. Marta was never one to write. She always showed up in person. This time something different happened. On the screen, a simple notification. One new message. Perfect day to do nothing. Rainy coffee if you want. Tobias held the phone for several seconds. He didn't open the message. There was no obligation to reply, but no clear reason to ignore it either. He closed his eyes, the phone still in hand. Sure, why would I ignore him? Elias slowly slid his finger across the screen and typed. You can send coffee telepathically, maybe I'll get off the couch. Less than 2 minutes passed before a reply came in. It's strong but polite, just like you asked. I owe you. Elias was surprised to find himself smiling. The rain kept falling, but something had shifted. Over the next few minutes they exchanged messages about rainy movies, ridiculous coffees, and set songs with weather names. Ivan had a gift for talking without pressure, without urgency. And Elias, who hadn't planned on speaking to anyone, now held his phone like a gentle lifeline. He didn't need to meet up, just being there was enough. He hadn't thought digital words could calm so much noise. He let the sounds of rain fill the silence. At some point he fell asleep, dreamed of his mother, a grey day, and a cup of tea. She read him a story in a low voice. And the fox looked at the little prince and said, "What is essential is invisible to the eye." Why is the fox sad? Because he learned to care. He didn't understand then, now he did. When he woke up, Elias didn't go downstairs right away. Instead, he opened the attic door looking for an old blanket. The air smelled of dust, damp wood, something kept too long. In a corner, he spotted a box with his name written in faded marker. He crouched, opened it. Inside were school drawings, movie ticket, an unsent letter, and a blurry photo. In the image he was about 5. His mother held him by the waist, laughing. On the back, in smudged ink, a phrase. "Watching you grow was my daily miracle." Elias froze. The photo trembled in his fingers, though there was no wind. Why didn't you say this out loud? He slipped the photo into his pocket. He didn't cry, but something softened inside. He closed the box carefully as if it were fragile. He went downstairs in silence. Before reaching the kitchen, something made him stop. The bookshelf, another attic, made of paper. He ran a finger along the dusty spines, reading familiar titles like old friends' names. He pulled out a book at random. There was a dried flower between the pages. On the first page, a dedication in his mother's handwriting. For when you wonder where you come from, or who you take after. It was a book of Russian tales, one Clara used to read to him when he was sick. He flipped through it slowly, not looking for anything specific, just letting something find him. On a marked page, a phrase underlined in pencil. The heart remembers what the mind fears to forget. He closed the book and went to the kitchen. Marta had already made soup. Eat something. You got a long face. I'm not hungry. You're a terrible liar. He served himself a bit, just to avoid an argument. The soup tasted like childhood, and things he didn't know how to name. What was she like, when I wasn't here? Lonelier, more closed off. She never stopped talking about you. I didn't know that. It's not too late to learn other things too. He went up to his room and turned on the laptop. It didn't work. He started writing something without knowing what it was. A scene, 2 characters, rain, a reunion. He stopped his fingers on the keyboard, saved the file as untitled text. He looked at the wooden box again, didn't touch it. He opened the notebook he'd brought in case inspiration struck. Drew a curved line, then another, a silhouette, a scarf. It was her. No face, but it was her. Why am I still clinging to something we left unfinished? The rain kept falling without pause. ChatGPT cannot draw writing on a paper. Gray face, no space. What? From his window, he could see the closed bookstore across the street. Lights off. The sign swaying in the wind. He imagined Mara inside, drinking tea, binding books, scented with glue and paper. Does she think of me too? Clara knocked gently before entering. Tomorrow there's a fair. You could go if the crowd doesn't bother you. Is Mara going? So listen, kid, back in my times in 2013 Twitch, people would ask, how do you do, Kappa? People would respond, gray face, no space. I had no idea. Damn. Account created August 30, 2012. That is something, one chips. She always sets up a booth with her notebooks. Maybe I'll go. Bring an umbrella. Even if the wind takes it, it gives the illusion of preparedness. I've been here since Twitch was mainly speedrunning. Were you here before it was called Twitch? Or was it already called Twitch? Elias smiled. He tucked the drawing between the notebook pages, turned off the light, but left the blind half open. Her rain was his only audible company. He lay down, hugging the knitted blanket Clara had left. It just turned to Twitch from Justin TV? Okay. Closed his eyes with Mara's face imprinted in his memory. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but I want to see her again. The letter was not opened that day. Sometimes truths need more time. End of day 4. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm falling asleep here. Looking at this picture too. I don't know, man. I really hope game devs don't start using AI everywhere. They even made a gallery with this stuff, huh? I've been following you for almost 3 years. Yeah, time really does fly, man. What was I playing when you joined? Do you remember? In a gallery with the AI photos. Yeah. Oh, 13 Sentinels. Yeah. Man, that game was so good. Is so good. Yeah. As you should, as you should. You ever did the hard fights in that game? Or just the required stuff? And then the whole game on intense. Holy shit. You're so intense. Alright. Well, that's gonna be it for today. Made it more interesting. Well, I thought it was plenty interesting. But I get what you're saying. We're done for today. I have other random games tomorrow, and then I think we're playing Zenless Zone Zero. So that's the plan. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and good night. And I just waved to you even though there's no camera because I'm stupid. Goodbye.